Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Final Appeal, written by Sjanevardsson. There is little in life more disappointing than having the target of your desire snatched from your grasp at the last moment. Alex knew the feeling all too well. The third time was not the charm, as the saying would have one believe. Neither were the fourth, fifth, or sixth. Alex smothered her jumpsuit. It was a copy of the ones worn by everyone else around her, made smaller and shaped to fit her. The cool grey of the jumpsuit clashed with her warm, golden brown skin, reddish brown hair, and bright brown eyes, but she'd gotten used to it. "Are you okay, little one?" The querent wore a matching jumpsuit, though half a meter taller, with 6 sleeves that had creased in size from the top pair to the bottom, heavily sloped shoulders, and a collar that would look at home on an alpaca. The creature that filled out the jumpsuit had pale blue skin under a thick layer of grey-white vellus hair. Large, oval compound eyes reflected the light from the windows like the finely cut gem. "You can't call me that anymore, girla." Alex crossed her arms in an exaggerated huff. "If I'm an adult now, I don't know for sure, but I'd guess I'm 21 or 2 on Earth years." "Yes, but I'm still bigger than you." "Not fair. I'm tall for a human, especially a human woman, but you always will be taller." "They'll always be older as well." Gerla patted Alex's hair with one of her top hands. "You'll always be the baby that was dropped off with me by the scout mission." "Baby nothing. I was 7 and tending a flock of sheep by myself," Alex sighed. "I guess I should be grateful that they brought me here instead of straight to the labs." "Almost as grateful as I am," Gerla said. Alex hugged the creature. "Quit being so sweet, Gerla. I'm trying to be mad at you for calling me little." "You can be mad at me after the hearing. We'll have time for it then." Gerla moved one compound eye close to Alex's face, and the nictating membrane closed and opened over it. Alex recognized it as always coming before a serious question. "What is it?" "Why are you still trying?" the creature asked. "What do you hope to gain? Freedom to return to your home?" Alex shook her head. "This is my home, here with you and all my friends. I can't even remember what my mother or father looked like, or the name of the hills where we lived." "Then why?" Alex stepped back from Gerla and spread her arms. "What do you see when you look at me?" "I see Alex." "No," she cut them off. "When you really look at me, you see a human, the only one on this planet. At least the courts have finally decided I'm sapient, after completing all the normal schooling a Thoran child would receive and learning all the official languages of Salar. Still not a citizen, though. Still an orphan, as they won't let you legally adopt me." She dropped her arms to her sides, and the hardness overtook her face. "This is my last chance. The final appeal. I've overcome every obstacle they've thrown in my way, just for them to find new, inventive ways of denying me this last, simple thing." "A finding from the court means nothing," Gerda said. "It also doesn't matter what we share, no DNA. You are my progeny, and I'm your progenitor. Forever. And always," Alex finished. "But this is important to me." Gerda put an arm around Alex's shoulders. "I'm behind you all the way." Alex nodded and checked the time on the wall display. "We're up." The heavy white doors opened with a soft hiss, and Alex marched into the courtroom, head held high. She stood at the tall bench which reached her armpits. A bailiff brought over a small step for her, so she could be tall enough to talk into the microphone, and she accepted it with a polite smile. Unlike the other appeals, as she worked her way up the system, this courtroom was packed with spectators. There was a steady murmur that spread through the crowd as she entered and continued until the bell of the court rang and brought them all to their feet. The judge entered and sat at their bench above the courtroom where they looked down on the proceedings. The bell rang again, and the spectators sat. The attorney for the state tilted their head towards Alex and slowly closed and opened their nictating membranes. Alex returned the silent greeting as best she could with a head tilt and a slow blink. The lead judge spoke. "We are gathered to hear the case of Alex, a sapient specimen petitioning for Solari citizenship. Is that correct?" The state's attorney made no move to correct the judge, so Alex herself did. Your Honors, the District of Koraima Court declared me fully sapient and capable of entering into legal contracts over 4 revolutions ago.
State's attorney, is this correct?
One of the other judges asked. It is, Your Honor.
You would do well to keep your motions up to date. Seeing that Citizenship appeal was filed 2 revolutions ago, the state had ample time to update their position.
The lead judge flipped papers with their lowest, smallest hands, while their upper hands formed the pose of a query.
Given the state's initial position was based on the plaintiff's status as semi-sapient, am I to take it that your arguments are all based on that as well?
No, Your Honors. Our arguments are valid regardless of the findings of the lower court on plaintiff's sapience.
Very well. The court will hear the plaintiff's arguments first.
The 4 judges looked towards the plaintiff's bench, and the one closest to that end raised their upper hands in query.
Are we to understand that you are representing yourself here, in the highest court in the land?
I am, Your Honors.
If you would indulge us, why?
Alex tilted her head. The reasoning for that will become clear in my arguments, Your Honors.
Very well, proceed.
I'd first like to say that, contrary to the state's fears, I do not plan on attempting to return to the planet of my origin and providing advanced technology to a savage world.
Objection! Assumption of motive,
the state's attorney called out.
Sustained, the head judge said. Please stick to the facts.
Alex smiled. I call your attention to plaintiff's evidence items 1 through 4. These are the rejection letters for my adoption from the enclave, city, district, and state. In every one of them, their stated reason is that I may, and I quote, return to the planet of origin and provide that savage world with advanced technology, end quote. The state's attorney seemed to shrink. Alex knew how old the documents were, and as she'd only found them after the last appeal, buried within mountains of discovery her last attorney had largely ignored, was certain that they hadn't thought that they would be brought up. Which brings me to the point of self-representation. Besides missing these documents in discovery, my previous attorney was too expensive to continue with. Having no rights as a citizen, I can't work to earn money. Being unable to support myself, I am, as an adult, still as reliant on Magurla, my state-appointed guardian, as I was a child. Alex looked at each of the judges in turn as she spoke. I was brought here by a scouting party as a biological sample 18 revolutions ago. I did not come of my own volition. I did not volunteer, and I am not a refugee. I am, however, in every other sense, an orphan now. I don't remember much of my family on Earth, or even Earth itself. She took a deep breath. If not for Gurla, I would have likely been dissected long ago. They taught me the languages of Solari, how to read and write, and everything I needed to know to get by in Thorin society, except for how to turn into a Thorin. She swallowed hard. In the Solari Constitution, citizenship is offered to every person, no matter where born, by naturalization of 12 revolutions. I remind the court, I've been here for 18 revolutions. It is arguable that when that was written 1,218 revolutions ago, person meant only Thoran. As the 209 revolutions ago, though, that no longer holds true. This court, in this case of the Senate versus Senator Burla, found that any sapient is entitled to the same protections offered to persons in the Constitution. If that truly is the case, why, historically, has that extended only to protection against abuse and not protection against disenfranchisement? I would like to also call your attention to the Solari Book of Law, Volume 400, Section 3482.9, Paragraph 2. Pursuant to galactic trade laws, Sula will make no law nor finding that is in violation of galactic rights of sapience, as ratified on the 7th day of Revolution 3012. The Galactic Rights of Sapience, number 8, which has remained unchanged since then, states, any sapient who is unable to return to their home world or another world of their species shall be considered stateless. No member state of the galactic trade may refuse citizenship to a stateless sapient on request. The state has already made it clear that I cannot return to my home planet, and my species only has the one. As such, the quoted laws make the state's actions illegal and unconscionable. Tears began to pull in her eyes. Your Honors, I have no illusions about my position. In time, Gerda will grow old and feeble, no longer able to work. The state will provide for her retirement, but that retirement doesn't cover feeding, clothing, and housing me. Further, that retirement is only the barest of essentials. Gerda has been a parent to me and taken care of me the majority of my life. I'm just asking for the right to take care of them in their old age. As a citizen, and as their lawfully adopted progeny, I can do that. As a biological sample that happens to be a sapient, I can't. Alex wiped her tears. Thank you, Your Honors. Nothing more. She'd done her best, taken her best shot. Now it was down to the state's attorney and the judges. Alex listened to the state's attorney hem and haw over reasons why she shouldn't be allowed citizenship. When it turned, inevitably, to travel to Earth with all the dangerous technology of the Thorans, she couldn't help but roll her eyes. Finally, the state's attorney ran out of steam, and the judges left the chamber to discuss and make their decision. This was part she hated the most, the waiting. The wait was short. The judges returned in a matter of minutes. The lead judge said, I have some questions for the plaintiff. Yes, Your Honor. Alex's heart fell. This didn't feel like it was going to be good news. How many of your previous attorneys brought up the original rejection letters? None, Your Honor. And how many of them brought up the Solari Constitution, specifically naturalization? One, Your Honor. And did that one bring up the Senate versus Senator Bowler? No, Your Honor. They tilted their head. And how many of your attorneys brought up the galactic rights of sapiens? And legal section 348 paragraph. They flipped through their notes. Paragraph 2? None, Your Honor. Where did you study law? In the law library of the District of Korima. Gerda was kind enough to escort me there every spare moment for the last 2 revolutions so I could prepare for this. No formal schooling? One of the other judges asked. No, Your Honor. As a non-citizen, I'm not entitled to free education. And on Gerda's salary, there is no way that we could afford it. The lead judge took over again. If given citizenship, you mentioned that you'd want to work. What kind of work would you do? Alex shrugged. Anything. I'll tend livestock, scrub floors. Anything. They tilted their head again. Have you considered a career in law? Not until this moment. The judges whispered amongst themselves. Then the bell rang again. The judges stood, and the spectators stood as well. It is the finding of this court that the plaintiff has neither the motive nor the means to return to their home planet. As such, the state has violated Solari law, section 3482.9. Plaintiff is awarded full citizenship immediately, and the rejection of the original adoption request is hereby overturned. The lead judge raised their upper hands in query. Is your adoptive progenitor here today? Yes, Your Honor. One of the bailiffs will escort you to my office, where I'll be honored to perform your swearing-in ceremony and sign your adoption decree. As a citizen, I would highly recommend law school, and I hope to see you here again in the future, representing someone else. End of story. I would just like to thank the T5 supporters: Bushmaster 117, Caspar Arnholtz, Drexzoon WRE, Elijah Silvercross, Gray, John Carrington, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.